June meeting of the Public Works Standing Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Carroll.
Here.
Manning. Here. Cosgrove. Severson.
Present.
Williamson.
Here.
Cooley.
Here.
And McGuire.
Here.
Yellow.
Verification of open meetings law.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is properly dismissed.
Thank you. Need approval of an agenda here. Looks like 12-point agenda.
Motion for approval.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, minutes from May 8th. And if there's not any corrections, I will approve the minutes as published. Comments, let's see. Good. Public comment. Any public comment? Doesn't look like it. Anybody online? All right, reports.
Okay, for my reports, I really don't have a whole lot as far as just the normal day-to-day maintenance repairs, all the buildings that we've been going to and back and forth. As you know, it's fairly warm in here today, so we're having issues with all of our air handlers outside. We're down to 3 out of the 10. Well, 3.5, I think. So.
3 out of 10?
Yes. They're not running. So hopefully get Mike here in the next day or two and take a look at them, see if we can get them up to at least 5 anyway. So been warning the committee for 4 years now that we need to replace those, and now's the time. So whether it's freon leaks or whether the units are just shot, I mean, they were put in 1987. So it's another subject we need to discuss down the road here. Well, not too far down the road, because it's not gonna get any cooler in here.
What kind of money
So-
are they to replace?
I don't know, I'd have to get bids and all that on them. I don't know what the cost can be. Guessing over 100,000 by the time you put a chiller in and whatever system we decide to go with down there, so. But another expensive project. Temperatures just keep rising on the systems. We were at 43 degrees yesterday and we're up to 65 today. And we can't get it any cooler. So, because the units are there's only 3 units trying to cool everything.
What's it in jail?
It's gotta be the same as what it is probably up here, so. There's gonna be some complaining coming over the next few days unless we can do something to
Get a hell of a lot worse.
get them where we can cool a little bit anyway. So
The units that are down, were they down last year too?
we were running on about 6.5 to 7 last year. Because we lost 3 last year, but we started out with 5 or 6 running this year, but now 2 more or 3 more have gone down, so.
When did they go down?
In the last probably 3 or 4 days. So. They're struggling to work. So. I'll have to get Mike from Precision to come in and figure out what he can do to them. I know he was gonna contact Benny this afternoon and see what kind of options we had to get them back up and
Did we
if
do
we
any
can get them
preventive,
if we can get them operational.
did we do any preventive maintenance this spring?
It doesn't matter, I clean them and they.
No, I know, but did they check freons and stuff? No.
No, we not right away in the spring. So that's all I have for that, Mr. Chair.
You, Josh?
All right, we'll start with the monthly bills. Month's total was $655,896.03. Some of the larger charges you'll see on here is, like KS Bank, that's the excavator lease, that's 49. That's again, just a yearly payment. Until it's paid off, and I think we have 4 more years to go on that one. The other large one up top is Kudik Chevy. That is for a replacement pickup truck for one of our small dump trucks. Truck 28 was the one that we had to replace, the engine blew in it. It was an older truck and they quoted us $30,000 to put a replacement engine, and that's without replacing the box. So I found another used truck. It's a 2023 model Chevy 3500. We got it for just underneath $50,000. So it was a good replacement rather than sticking a bunch of money into an old truck. Campus Bridge at $222,927. And then you'll see the list of cost shares that we paid out. This went in front of county board last month to pay those bills out to the townships, and there will be more to come of those in the following years. And then the rest of them, besides like yard materials for like 19,000, this is gravel. The rest of them are pretty normal expenditures. Mr. Chair, and then the second part is, I believe there might be one of you that didn't receive one of these sheets. I didn't have enough copies. So basically every month, I just bring the monthly bills forward so you guys get a glimpse of what we're paying out per month. I don't feel that's enough for this committee to be made aware of. So what I'm doing is we're building a simple spreadsheet that's easy to track, and do not pay any attention to the numbers that are on here. These are in no way, shape, or form accurate. They're just the start of the pool of information that we're going to include. But this is what I would like to start including with the expenditures per month, but also an actual look at our finances to see how much money is coming in, how much money is going out. So you get the real world look of, highways is not made of money, this is the reality of our situation. As with every department, as prices go up, tax levy stays stagnant, revenues are expected more and more to cover what we do. So this, I just wanted you guys to see this. This is something I'll refine and bring back to the table for you to see, but this is what we're gonna start showing. Again, pay no attention to these numbers. They're no way near shape accurate except for the tax allocation, which is a standard 1,663,500. In other department news, on the county side, we've been doing shouldering on all the county roads, and then even into like Eagle Township was one of them. Culvert installations, mowing, and then state, we've been mowing, patching, and then shouldering with a big DMA project. You'll be seeing a shoulder all over the place. Yes, some of it doesn't look real good right now because we're just carving some shoulders. So when roads, we will address those problems as we get to it. We're just cleaning up all the gravel shoulders on the state highways, along with what we did on the county side. And that's what I have, Mr. Chair.
So, vote.
Question,
Steve?
Josh, is this, a new reporting function out of the Tyler system, or where's this coming from?
No, this is just an Excel spreadsheet. Tyler system doesn't encompass what we do at highway because we're on a different type of accounting systems. We're state mandated to use a different function, which in our case is called New Roads. New Roads is what the state uses to communicate with us for all of our exchange of finances back and forth. So this is this information pulled directly out of our accounting system that we're putting into just a simple Excel spreadsheet.
When do you think you'll have it where we can look?
I'm hoping within the next month. So next committee, I should have a functioning copy to go over with you guys. And then at that point, we'll go over it. And then if there's things that's not making sense, things you don't want to see, then we'll address those. But I just want to have something that works well with the committee to educate and keep people up to speed with us financially.
Gosh, I did call for a tube for the town of Dayton 2-3 weeks ago, and I was surprised, Brady, that he thinks the price of culverts down.
The prices did come down this year, but we're still sitting on some 2024 inventory. As we're getting new culverts in, we are getting the 2025
So
pricing.
you think it'll be less than we paid 2024?
Yes. Yeah, in my grade developers.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chair.
On our bills, highway department on 302 Yara materials for $19,274.51. There are a lot of quarries around here that there's a lot of gravel, like Householder, Shannon Quarry, Supervisor Manning took me to Shannon Quarry, I believe, one time. We looked at that. Is there like a bidding process, or do we go to get material from, or like how was Yara chosen in this application for this process?
Sure. So quarries are all over the county.
Yep.
And we go to the ones that are strategically located to closest where we're doing the work. And every year, all the quarries give us a price sheet to pull material out of. So even if this one's closer, but it's gonna be a lot more money, we'll go to another quarry to say that price. So we don't bid out all the material we're gonna use for a year. We just get their prices that are best for the highway department, and then we use whatever quarries close to the area of work.
So Yara put in a bid for this year for whatever amount.
They just give me a dollar amount, like per yard for like regular gravel, washed rock, 3-inch break or rip wrap. We just get a price sheet from them for what material they have in that quarry, and that's what we get our pricing for. We actually don't bid it out the gravel unless it's for an LRIP project, like a state funded program where we're getting like a 50% reimbursement or 80% reimbursement. Then we would bid out the material for that project, but if it's just regular maintenance work, like what Yahara provided us here for shoulder gravel, we just go with whatever the price is coming out of that quarry. So we definitely give a lot of business to like Householder, Shannon Quarry, Yahara, which is up there by Chemicals on T. And then there's a couple other smaller quarries too.
All right,
Mr. Chair.
yes.
Quick status update on the bridge.
Bridge will be nearing completion probably. I gave an update at CRC. They poured the curb today. They got some of the concrete poured on the Highway 14 side of it. Once the curb and everything's set, then gassers will be coming in to pour the blacktop on it would be the north side of the bridge into the parking lot area. And then there'll be some normal backfill work and finish product. So I would imagine I think the final walkthrough is scheduled for, I don't have that sheet on me, but right near the end of July, final walkthrough completion.
Have there been any change orders?
The only change order we had was for some rebar, and then when they pounded in the pilings, the original bore samples showed it going down like, I think it was 20, 30 feet before they hit bedrock, and when they actually pounded in the pilings, they had to go additional. I think it settled out going 10 to 15 feet over that. They hit it, some soft ground they were able to pound through before they hit sufficient enough bedrock to support the pilings. So that was a change order. We have to add a little bit more material to that.
Do they price it? You approve it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I just gonna make one other, comment about the quarries. Not every quarry has all the materials you need either. And there's only a few of them that have chips and clearstone and wash rock and all that. So I can see you have to go a distance sometimes to get particular materials you need.
Yes.
all right, anything else? If not, we'll move on. Discussion possible action approval of countywide vehicle use policy.
So this is something that Attorney Wendell, Josh, and myself got together and worked on. The proposed policy is in the packet. We did take this to executive and finance. The only change we made after that meeting was on the second page, under employee responsibilities, number 5, we just clarified that employees are allowed to use a hands-free device. We just want to make sure that when they're driving, they're not having the phone to their face. Other than that, I feel like we've encompassed everything. This is something that we did share. I did share with all department heads who have vehicles, and the input I got back from Stephanie, Mike Jessen, and Josh, I incorporated that as much as I could into this.
All right. Everybody had an opportunity to read through this? But we probably need to make a motion to get this on the floor.
I just got a question quick, Mr. Chair. Employees are required to submit proof of insurance to the department prior to utilizing it. Our county insurance will not cover if they're driving.
The county insurance does cover you if you're driving. My understanding of this, correct me if I misspeak. Our employee has to provide proof of insurance to show the county that they are insurable. So if they have a really bad driving record, we're not just gonna turn the keys over to a, $300,000 plow truck, but here you go.
That makes sense.
So the idea is not that their insurance covers anything, but it shows that
They are an insurable person.
Got it.
Yes, the county's insurance, it's a county vehicle for county purposes,
Yeah.
and a county employee doing county business, the county insurance.
Yeah.
All right. Get a motion to get this on the floor.
Williamson, so move.
Barry with second. All in favor? Let's see, we got discussion. Carrie.
So I sympathize with a lot of county employees. Sometimes they have family members and they have small children, and at times, I know it specifies in here that they're able to do that, to deviate from minor things, but like, are they able to take their family members, like, small children, if they had to go to school, one parent's gotta go to work early? our county employee, is they're able to take them, are they able to go out of their way to be able to have their family member to go do that, or to go to the grocery store to get something, minus their 20-mile trek back up to the county line where they live at, you know, like.
I think it's as long as it's within reason. So if you are coming into Richland Center and you are going sort of straight to the highway shop, you're going to the high school to drop your child off, I think that's okay. But if you live in Richland Center and you enroll your kids to Kickapoo and you work for the highway, no, you can't go to Kickapoo, drop your kids off and then come back to Richland Center. So I think it's gotta be that within reason, and I think that's something we've gotta give the department head some discretion to say, this isn't reasonable.
One time when we talked about this before, 3 years ago, like if a deputy wanted to take the squad car to go to Walmart, he had to radio in, be able to say that he was there, because if that vehicle was there, then all of a sudden there was a situation, they would have to respond. Is that similar to what we're expecting here? I know it's not written here, but.
I think so. I mean, I think employees should be letting their department head know when they're going to be using it for personal use.
I can speak for highways, it is expected, so like, let's say the superintendent, he's going somewhere, he has to let me know where he's going with that truck. If he's gonna turn that vehicle on a weekend, as long as it's a county function, he's doing it for the county, he lets me know what he's up to, so we can account for that vehicle's action and his actions.
You have GPS on them trucks?
Not on the pickups, we have GPS on a handful of plow trucks, but not the. Correct. But with that being said, we also track the mileage of the vehicles. Every time we turn in on bi-weekly status, our starting and ending mileage is recorded to each day, so we know if there's like a huge discrepancy, like, hey, you were only supposed to come to work, why is there 300 miles on the vehicle? You know?
We see that with the sheriff's department, they turn in a mileage sheet with their vehicles.
I think the main reason for this was just kind of get something so that we had a policy, right? So that otherwise it could be very much up in the air. And
That's true.
people could assume that we're doing whatever, however, in this way that we have a policy. And it just, to me, it cleans it up, and then you got something to work with. More than that, I mean, ever since we started talking about the guys taking trucks home in the county, the thought process right from the start was, well, if you gotta go pick something up on your way home, well, no harm, no foul. It makes no sense. Drive all the way home, get your personal vehicle, drive all the way back, because we expect you to take that truck home. So when the tree's on the road at 1 a.m, you can go to that instead of drive all the way back, or, you know what I mean? It's just kind of common sense, but we didn't have a full-blown policy, so now we have a policy that we can. That was my purpose of it, was just to get something in writing, and so that this is what it is and this is what we follow and go. So, fully agree. I thank everyone for the effort they put into it, and of course, if it isn't, we come up with something new, we will adjust accordingly.
Well, it's a policy. Policies are able to be made changed. Laws are not. They have to go through a process. But policies, we are able to do that. So we can go review this in 6 months, say it's not working, or at any time it's not working, we can change the policy at any time. So.
All right, any more? That's cool. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now we're at the bids. Time to open the bids for the boiler.
So, this is all new to me, doing bid process. Josh has been doing a lot of this for me, helping me out with it, so if I'm doing something wrong, he'll jump in. So we put it out for proposal, put the proposal out for bids. We had three contractors, Thermodynamics, ASAP, and Precision Controls. Bid on the proposal that we had sent out. Sorry to Kevin, he got his a little bit late, but so anyway, the bids for Thermodynamics came in at, well, they had two options here. First option was for 2 boilers, copper tubing, modulator burner. He can explain this probably if you have any questions, but that bid for that proposal came in at $141,000. He also had another option for 2 cast iron model to Dietrich boilers. all the completion of work, so on and so forth. That bid came in at 166,000.
We chose to look at the bid for the cast iron boilers because that was gonna be most comparable apples to apples with what was provided by the other vendors. And again, we look at the longevity of those kind of boilers, and that's what we preferably stick with. And everybody got the same exact copy of the RFP. We basically list out model, serial number, all the specs of our piece of equipment. We understand that vendors offer different name brands and different types of boilers. So we relied on them to provide us with the best recommendation, and we took what we had and made sure that they met all parameters for installation removal, and then the price for the most comparable one to what we had.
Okay, so those came in 141 and 166, so the 166 was for the cast iron boilers. The other one was ASAP out of Spring Green, and their option one was for 2 Burnham boilers. Again, they met all the requirements. That total came in at 101,000. And then Precision Controls, they came in with the same, pretty much the same boiler. We marked those, total those amounts. Oh, they're all. Okay. That's whatever you wrote. Precisions came in with all the completion for everything was 97,171.
We did have a chance to review the information that was given or provided by the vendors, and again, we felt that all the options put on the table by the vendors met our requirements, and what it comes down to, honestly, for us, our recommendation, your approval would be the going with Precision for the $97,000 installed. The county has had history working with this company. We feel like we would be serviced just fine by that vendor. But place to make that decision.
Who's the 141,000?
ASAP, or sorry, Thermodynamics.
Go through the 166, then go down through them again. Like
The 166 was for the cast iron boilers.
The other ones are all copper.
The 141 was the high efficiency.
The boilers we would consider would be at this, from Thermodynamics, the boilers we would consider, which are cast iron, is $166,000. ASAP, the option we would consider from them is $101,000.
What kind of boiler?
Burnham, which is the same brand we currently have.
Is it a cast iron or is it?
Yes.
Correct. Okay, so these are cast.
Cast iron.
Same way with Precision.
Same way with Precision, they have Burnham, cast iron, and that comes in at $97,171.
Burnham's a pretty good boiler, in my opinion.
And that's what we currently have in the courthouse right now in Burnham's, and they've sued the county.
I've used Burnham's before in the past. Have it currently at a house. Was Mr. McGuire, I would like, Mr. Chair, I'd like to see Mr. McGuire's opinion.
My question is, these cast iron boilers, are they sectional boilers?
You'd have to ask them.
The Dietrich is cast iron section.
Cast iron sectional.
Right, because if these other ones are bidding, they're not section, how are you gonna get them in there? Go ahead.
So the burner comes off, so we're actually confident, we'll remeasure, but we're confident that it'll actually come in one section. Enough width and dimensions to actually come in. We'll remeasure the doors. If we do get it in, if we do need to, we'll bring it in sectional. So there are sectional boilers to answer your question.
How about burners? Are the burners all the same on each boiler? I mean, is there a different brand of burner?
Our boiler, the Dietrich boiler had an IC.
So what?
Our boiler, the cast iron Dietrich, had an IC burner, which is made in Monroe. That's a modulating burner. So it's a little bit different.
Different brand, ours is a firepower modulated. It's a modulating boiler as well, or modulating burner.
Warranties comparable? Josh,
No warranties listed on them.
No warranties came enlisted, but most boilers, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, 10 years, and then warranty all service that you, or all installation that they have provided, as long as it's their work that failed.
That's true.
So how many boilers, is it 2 boilers or 3 boilers? Just one?
2 points.
Boiler. Okay. Is there already 3 boilers down there now?
Just 2.
Okay. Okay, how are they fired? Fire them on lead legs, or you fire them up one starts in the fall and run also, then maybe in spring, okay, when you have lease load, and then the other one is on standby and kicks in when you have, how's that work?
So I believe the ones that currently are on a lead leg,
They alternate.
alternate. And then this is basically boiler for boiler, with going Burnham. The efficiency is a little bit higher, but it's by no means a high efficiency boiler. And then the control would still be the current controller there, which are pneumatic.
Okay.
Steve,
Demo and removal of the old ones, included in the quote,
Yes, sir.
and we know if there's asbestos.
And we've already had our asbestos abatement done, 3.5 years ago? We had an asbestos abatement done in the building, so there was nothing in that room according to the gentleman that did it.
We have paperwork showing that.
Yeah, there should be, Derek should have the abatement somewhere, but
Some of those old boilers used to have asbestos in lining. I think that's where he's coming from.
You could even be the gaskets. I mean, I'm just saying that we need to know if we're
You gotta
gonna
break
rate
that,
the house
yeah.
with asbestos.
If you gotta break that boiler and get it out, then you're gonna be exposed to
yeah, I don't know if
asbestos.
there's anything inside the boiler. I guess I wouldn't know unless we contacted the company to find out if they were
Using
made that way.
asbestos.
Another question. How was the RFP generated? How did you go out for bids? I've not seen an actual RFP document.
Do you have
I don't have to copy it with.
Okay, so basically we went downstairs and we went up to the Burnhams and we took a picture of their model and serial number plaque with all the provided information, the BTUs, the gallon, or whatever all the parameters that were there. And then the RFP basically stated Richland County is looking for a replacement of 2 boilers at the courthouse location. This is the current specs that we have. We are looking for comparable units of what we have. We rely on you vendor to provide us with the same exact.
So for our procurement policy, is this considered equipment or a public contract since they're doing work on site?
Well, this would be equipment because you're buying the boilers and then the installation of them. I would look at it as an equipment purchase.
Right. So when we went out for quote, did we use a class 2 notice is what I'm asking. Our procurement policy we passed last year says that if it's equipment greater than 175,000, you have to do class 2. And at the time, we didn't know what the quotes were going to be. So I just wondered how it was asked for, how the quotes were asked for.
We just solicited 3
Okay.
competitive bids.
And we had an idea of how much it might be.
Yeah.
Because we had talked with a couple of people just because we needed to know.
You figured it was under that threshold?
Yes, yes.
We felt as though not necessary to go out to advertisement for a bid and go through normal process other than solicit for their 3 competitive bids with an actual RFP document.
Yes. Well, I'm more concerned about the whole transparency thing. And as long as we went out and found as many as we could, we got 3 bids, right?
Correct.
Okay.
all right. Any other questions?
What kind of life did we get out of the boilers that we have down there now?
They were 1982 when the building was built,
Original.
82?
so 43 years.
Are we still with the same control system like Johnson Control, Honeywell, White Rogers? How are they being controlled?
Are those tied into the pneumatics?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pneumatic controls.
It's original. That was why I wrote it down. That's the next thing to go.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully these new boilers will work with it.
You're saying if we get a new boiler, it might not work with the control system we got?
That, I don't know, that's up to them.
We did have them come in person to see the setups we had, so they could properly quote what they were going to be putting in place to make sure it functioned with our system. Yeah, Randy, they took you up on that, and they came in person.
Yeah, they all of them came in.
What's the concern of the control? Is there a concern?
And I think that they're gonna work fine with the boilers. The one thing that people are upgrading the DVC controls, to try and put the whole building on a system that allows you to better monitor your heating and cooling. That would be a larger project, but a lot of buildings are going that direction.
The current boilers just get go signals, one or the other go, starts, runs, its onboard controls, manages the boiler. Many of these newer ones have modulating burners. That modulation feature is on board as opposed to it being driven by a building network. So it's pretty much mono.
On-off is what it's whatever it calls for Steve.
Yeah, they'll modulate down if they start reaching approach temperature on their own.
Are these actual steam or are they actual hot water? We need to replace all like stuff like this?
No.
No.
These are just hot water radiators. These are just radiators.
Yep.
The fans.
I want to make sure I understand. These new boilers will work with however our current sensing and control system is. But will our current control take full advantage of the modulation and all that, or does that still need to be worked out?
That onboard logic is part of the boiler burner system. So you really don't need to have your DDC network telling it to do anything. You don't have that anyway. The pneumatic setup you have, closes the set of contacts, tells the boiler to go. The boiler's gonna ramp itself up and down if these boilers have modulating burners. You should be able to do that on your own controller without any need for output from other systems.
Yeah, basically the boiler's just managing to a temperature. And then as you draw away from it, it stays on longer, turns off, whatever. It's
Ramp
pretty
the firing
simple.
rate up based on the temperature.
Whatever, yeah, it's just looking at the temperature of that boiler, and that's all I care about. It'll run longer or shorter.
So in terms of completion of the work and our acceptance, are we gonna fire them up a little and make sure everything's working, or we wait till fall, or how's that gonna work?
Well, I would hope they fire them up.
It's actually in the quote, they'll turn them on and make sure everything's properly running on them, not just install them and then walk away from it. They're gonna fire up these systems, make sure
But not
everything's
till
operating.
fall, probably.
They're gonna do it right away. As soon as it's installed, they're gonna turn everything on and make sure it's running.
I think the one thing should be included in your prices here, that you should have a start, test, and balance man, and this has to be from the factory startup person or someone out of your company that has gone to their school.
That's
We
a good
both
point.
have one of those.
The boiler bid did include factory startup. Startup, they provide combustion testing on. So both of our options that we did had factory startup.
And you?
Yeah, factory startups included. That's pretty standard. Make sure that you have the factory come and fire it up, and make sure everything's fired correctly.
Okay, I think it's important because otherwise, if it's not started up by a factory man, then the warranty is actually no good.
All right, any more questions, concerns?
But looking at these, I'm sure you looked it over, well enough to be pretty certain there's no asbestos. My question would be, if you get digging into this, all of a sudden you do find it, who's responsible for the abatement, the county or you?
We had, in our proposal, any asbestos abatement would be by the county or by under. Now, there's two areas. I was concerned about stack breaching, covering on the stack. I didn't know if that has asbestos in it or not. The other area that sometimes we run into issues with, like you mentioned, the gasketing around the burner mount, possibly not likely, or the combustion chamber itself. And usually, once the boiler is torn down, you can look at that, it's suspect. Have to take a sample of it, have it tested and so on. when I came here to do the walkthrough for bid, one of the boilers was already torn apart. So I assumed at that point, everything was all clear inside. The stack is the only thing that I was questioning, covered on the stack.
You wouldn't be able to remove that with you.
Not if we were going to be doing the project, we wouldn't be removing that. If it was brought on us to contract to do it, we'd be hiring asbestos abatement team to do that.
But that could be a lot of.
I wouldn't go, lot is kind of a subjective thing,
Would
but,
that be the monkey soup type of thing to do it?
well, typically, let's say it's the stack that I'm talking about. Typically, on that kind of thing, they would come in and put some kind of enclosure around it, wet it down, bag it, remove it, and that's kind of the deal. Again, the pipe covering, apparently has been covered already, and that's been tested and it's all right. I just wasn't sure about the boiler stack covering.
And I should say our bid does not discuss this abatement.
All right. So. We need a motion. What we're gonna do, go ahead, Steve.
Just one more thing. I just asked if we had a survey of the place looking for asbestos, could we just find the records?
Free.
We
I
have
think we
those.
need your records before we start to dismantle everything.
Well, I don't know if we, well, that's another question. I just wanted to make sure we found those records that we actually have.
That's what I mean. I think we need to see them before we start tearing into everything, right?
Yeah, as far as the county liability, that'd be a good idea, because they should have on that sheet, it should be documented, pipe covering this, stack this, so on and so on. They usually have it pretty well documented on that report.
That's what I would agree. That report, the important, when they come in and did their work, that's the things they're gonna go look at. Cause that would be the most common things, I would think.
Plumbing, pipe covering, maybe, you know.
bet. But if we need to find that, so I don't know who has that, but we need to find it.
Is that postpone or?
I don't think, no, I just think before we do any work, we have to verify that. Because we're gonna need more money if we don't, you know what I mean, whatever bid we accept, that's not part of the bid anyway.
You mentioned tonight then, doesn't this get counted, we get approval tonight?
It gets approval to be put in, but
We can make that known tonight.
then the second part of it is okay, we still have to verify that, one, there is no asbestos, and two, if there is asbestos, there's gonna be another charge here from a different company. It's not even the same thing. We're talking about two different things, really. Right now, we're trying to confirm buying a boiler, and that's the focus it should be. The second part of it is we gotta make sure the other stuff's right.
What's the lead time on these boilers?
The Burnham's, the lead time is 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
All right,
Yeah, that gives us time to.
Check that.
well, I need a motion to go forward with whatever we feel is the correct thing to do. Precision was the lowest price at 97, 171, ASAP at 101, 166 from thermodynamics for the cast iron.
I'll look.
Which one? Which one do you want to approve?
I thought the low bidder is what we were talking about.
Okay, well, we need to make that in the motion. So Precision Controls would get the bid at $97,171. That's your motion?
I'll second.
Gary seconds. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, you guys, for bidding. Okay, future agenda items, do we have any?
We'll just have a whole slew of updates coming out of the parks and fair and stuff for policy changes.
Any correspondence? No correspondence? Need a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Gary, I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, everyone.
Our next meeting is on the 10th.